And so today we're going to talk about the complete guide to winning online for electricians. And there really is no bigger problem for a business to solve. So if you don't have enough customers, nothing else matters. And the vast majority of customers are searching online. And it doesn't matter if you're the best if they can't find you. So today I'm going to show you the entire process from beginning to end. You'll leave this presentation with a plan to win. So why should you listen to me? Well, I wrote the book Online Marketing for Electricians. We worked with dozens of contractors and companies. We started electrician marketers, and I've owned a marketing agency since 2011. We've been doing this a long time, many industries on 6 continents, thousands of projects. We've done it all. We've seen it all. And from that expertise, we will share with you what you need to do. You can hear from our customers. They tell us we do a great job. And so in one specific industry that we cover, we generated for that one 15,000 leads. So we just happen to have great data on this industry. Not so much so on the electrician quite yet, but it's representative of what we see across industries. And so in this particular industry, we generated 15,000 leads, and this is the breakdown. And so you can see that where leads come from in kind of the home services contracting space is pretty broad, and you really need to cover them all. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And again, another customer, we're hesitant to change marketing companies, but we did a great job for them, and they were happy to tell us. Okay, so what do we teach? We teach the digital dominance method, which is you can't afford to leave anything out. And on the slide I just showed, you can see the leads come from different sources. The different buyers use different ways to engage with companies that they want to purchase from. And so you have to win in all of those places to maximize the return on your digital marketing investments. And so that's what this is all about. And so I'm going to give you the keys to do this, but I need something from you in return, which is you're not just going to listen, but you're going to act on it. If you see something that can help you wherever you are in your business, do it now. And if this presentation gives you great value, consider working with us in the future, the next time you go to market looking for a partner. That's all. Some will say, well, but Chris, I've tried this before. And I just want to push back on that a little bit because we hear that a lot. And I would say, are you certain that you or your agency did it right? Or even doing the right thing? Or were you doing enough of the right thing? I'll give you an example. You cannot spend $500 a month on Google ads and say you've done Google ads, because there are so many different ways campaigns fail at that level that chances are you never even got it off the ground. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just saying there's a right way and a wrong way to do these things. And if you haven't done it the right way, then you haven't done it. Okay. So here's what I do know. If you do these things right and in order, and do the right amount for where you are in your business, it will work for you. It works every time. This is not rocket science. There's a fairly clear set of steps you have to do to make these things work. Okay. Bottom line results. This is for, again, the same industry where we, generated 15,000 leads. We have great data for that industry. A very, very low aggregate cost per lead. So this is across all the areas of that digital dominance. When you break down ad spend plus what they pay us, they're paying anywhere from $18 to $40 per lead. Unique lead, not repeat calls. Okay. That's a great deal. Great profitability. That's why this matters. And lots of feedback from our customers. They love working with us. Okay. So just setting the stage there for why you should listen to us, why you should listen to me, and what I'm going to be talking about today. So let's jump right into it. So here's the overview. Okay. What I'm going to do is cover the things you should do in the order of importance, first to last. This is your roadmap, whether it's a new business, if it's a new location, if it's, fixing what you already have, wherever you are in this process, this will give you roadmaps of what you're going to do. But you need to build step by step. You need to maximize the ROI. Okay. So here's the process. We're going to get right to it. So I broke this down into 4 steps. Step 1 is get started. Step 2, get competitive. Step 3, get bigger. Step 4, get everywhere. That's what we're going to cover today. So here we go. Lots of material to cover. I'm going to go fast. We'll send out a replay if you missed something so that you can cover it again. Okay. So getting right in, getting started. What are you going to do? Google Business Profile, Facebook page, website. These are the 3 things you need to start with on your journey. Okay. Let's talk Google Business Profile. It should be the biggest source of leads. It is usually easy to get set up and get verified. And if you don't have an office, start with a service area. Okay. And again, looking back on the leads, Google Business Profile was number 1. Almost exactly a third of the leads came from Google Maps, which is what the Google Business Profile gets you ranked in. Okay, so think about it. Like, who is the biggest and strongest electrician in your area? Have you checked their Maps GeoGrid? There's software like Local Recon, I think is one, Local Viking. If you Google like Map GeoGrid for SEO or whatever, you'll find a ton of options. Just grab one, test it out. You can test it out on our website if you want. So check it out, check out yours, check out theirs. And there's room for 3 in that map pack. And so what difference would it make for you if you were one of those 3? Well, it'll make a huge difference, is the answer. And so here's what to do. Make sure you have a login for your Google My Business or your Google Business Profile, they call it now, account. Have your company name match the registration you do for your company. Don't use any keywords. Don't say best electrician or anything like that. Google suspends you for that kind of stuff. Connect it to your website and use a local number. Don't use 1-800 numbers. They're fine on your website, but even on your website, you really want to have a local number because people tend to think 800 numbers are national companies, and they may not necessarily want to call you first versus somebody local. Generally, they prefer someone local, especially in maps. So make sure that you give them that local number so that they want to call you. Okay. Also use a local address. Don't use a PO box. Don't use a UPS store. They don't work. If you don't have an address, do a service area. Okay. And then you want to upload photos, personal photos of you, your staff, the office, trucks, equipment, logo, all of it. Okay. People resonate with people. That's why stock photos are weird. That's why AI pictures are weird. They're just not real. I mean, stock photos are real, but you know what I'm saying. So be real. It makes people more comfortable with you. List your hours of operation, your services offered, and then check your performance. So, when you have your Google Business Profile, it tells you how it does. These are valuable insights. Excuse me. So take advantage of them. Okay. And then on an ongoing basis, best practices, add photos of projects, post updates a couple times a week, respond to reviews, and answer any questions that get posted. And that's it. At this level, just keep it basic, keep it simple. Okay. But get this right. This is the most important thing you do. And you want to aggressively pursue reviews politely. We'll talk more about this later. And just think, what does the phone ringing mean for your business? Is it worth the effort? And I think the answer is yes. This is one of those things where if you don't get it right, you're going to have a hard time growing. Okay, so let's next move on to the Facebook page. Okay, and your Facebook page is another free and easy asset that can get you leads. And customers will often check you out, and people seek recommendations on Facebook. And so you want, your customers to be able to tag you and say, hey, I recommend these guys. Okay, so it's important to have that. Here's what to do. It's pretty simple. Just create the page, have a profile photo, a cover photo, put your bio and make it simple. 3 lines. What do you do? Who do you help? Call to action. That's it. Put your categories, your contact info, and links to any websites and other socials like X or whatever else you use. And then claim your custom URL and try to keep it consistent across social media platforms if you can. Okay, if somebody else already has it, obviously you have to be creative. But again, be as consistent in your branding as you can be. And it should look something like this when you're done. Okay, won't get too much into it. And then as far as you use it, try to post content at least once a week, just so when someone checks you out, they can see you're an active company. balance your post with promotion, which is about you, engagement, which is about your audience, and sharing, which is about, other things. Could be local things, could be anything. So make sure you do that. Interact with other pages and people and groups as your page, like and comment on things. And keep in mind for social media broadly, videos are number one, photos are two, text is three in terms of how they're consumed and interacted with. So lean towards multimedia. Okay. Takeaways. Your Facebook page is really more about reputation than lead generation. It might get you some leads, but it's really about establishing a presence and a reality about your business. Showcase who you are so people connect with you on a deeper level. And just consider, can you post one time a week for the next month? You can. Find a way to do it. It's one of those things you got to do. Okay. Let's talk about a website. So why does this matter? Your website is really your most important online asset. It does most of the heavy lifting for you, and it helps everything else you do online shine, especially Google Maps results because of the local content you're eventually going to put on there. Okay, so your website is the hub, and so you have to treat it with the importance of what it is. So be real and authentic. Just don't be corporate-y, don't be stock photo-y. Put pictures of your crew on there. Put pictures of yourself if it's just you. Be real. Leverage video and social media. Take pictures, take videos, show what you do and show that you know what you're doing. That's what it's about. As you grow, leverage social proof, take your reviews, put them on there. And that's really it. There's not a whole lot to say here. I think website is one thing everybody kind of gets that you got to do. And so your website must look great and make you real. It's your best salesperson. So think about how you can make your website come alive. And just yourself, as you interact with businesses, how does a real website feel versus like kind of a faceless one where you don't know who the team is, you don't know who the owner is, it's just kind of like a brochure. It's just weird. And, you're less likely to call that company because you can't get a sense of who they are. Okay. It matters. All right. So step one, get started. Summary. Get your Google business profile working for you. Make your Facebook page active, have a website that lets prospects get to know you. And that's it. Let's move on to step two. Now we're talking about getting competitive. Like we've already gotten started, got that done. So what do we do next? And your focus in step two is Google Ads, SEO, reputation management. Okay, let's jump right in. Google Ads. So why does this matter? This matters because Google Maps only gets you so far. So Google over time has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk the radius that it will show your location on maps. You can get out there, but it takes a lot of work and can be challenging. But right around where you are, you're going to have a chance to dominate. Okay, so that's important. But chances are your single location map is not going to cover your entire service area. And so that's where ads come in. Because with Google Ads, you can blanket that whole area as much as you want, as much as you can afford, whenever you want. Okay. So that's why it matters. It's the highest visibility. It's why Google's a $60-70 billion company, whatever they are. They show their ads first. That's how they make their money. And this matters because it should be profitable for you if you do it correctly. Okay. So there's many ways to do ads wrong, but if you do it right, it should make you money. Otherwise, Google would not be a thing. If people didn't make money from Google Ads, Google would not be a huge company. This is just the reality of it. So going back to our industry example, 15,000 leads, second highest number came from Google Ads. Okay. Just under 30%. So this is very important from a lead generation portfolio to get this done. And this includes local service ads. So local service ads are a subset or a different kind of Google ads. They're really pay per lead versus pay per click. We're not going to get too much into that here, but when we're talking about Google ads, we're talking about both. And so there's slightly different strategies for both. We have different webinars that cover these things. But just broadly speaking, paid search ads, local service ads, both apply here. Okay. So why should this be a part of your marketing strategy? You show up quickly, show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. You can target the keywords, i.e. services that you really want to advertise for. And there's within reason, there's unlimited scalability. Obviously, within a market, there's only a limited number of auctions, but you're generally more limited by your budget than you are by impression share available. Okay, so when you get these dialed in, you should be able to scale up and down the number of leads you get to the amount of work that you can handle. Okay, so why do Google campaigns fail? There's a number of reasons. One is failing to understand the auction, how it works, and just what you're doing. You're bidding against others on traffic, is what's happening here. You set up only one ad group for all services. So you lump in like your residential fix it with like a commercial rewiring or whatever. Like you need to separate things thematically into service ad groups. Okay. Or another way it fails is you don't use specific text ads for those ad groups. So you just use one ad to cover everything. It's not going to work as well. Okay. Or you don't have a strong call to action or offer on your landing page. So like these things all work in concert together. A good ad group targets the right people. The good text in the ad compels them to click and engage. And a good landing page has them take action. It's like you're taking them on a ride here. And you've got to get those individual pieces right, or it doesn't work as well as it should. Okay. Another thing you want to consider here, I'm not going to get too in the weeds on this, is conversion tracking. So you can do this natively in the Google Ads platform to some level, but there are more advanced ways of doing it with things like dynamic number swapping, where you can really carefully identify where traffic is coming from, what it does it convert, and things like that. And it really gives you a better picture of your ROI. And so it's something that we recommend you do. But just tracking a click to a phone call or form fill to a sale is a really important part of this process for understanding what your return on investment is for your advertising dollars. Okay. And so your most important KPIs are your total spend, your average cost per click, although be careful about that because you really need to, again, to be tracking conversions, because you might have a keyword that's $20 cost per click, okay, which seems really high. But on average, it gives you a $50 cost per lead versus a $5 cost per click, which seems way better. That gives you a $90 cost per lead. Okay. The $20 cost per click is better. Don't turn off that keyword because the cost per click is high. So, right. So cost per click is not an important metric if your conversion tracking is in place. All you care about is your cost per lead, because that's what drives your profitability. Okay. And briefly on the landing page, make it easy for people to convert, make it easy for them, to understand a little bit about you and what you do. Have your social proof on there, have an offer for them. And it depends on your industry, what you're putting out there, but give them a reason to take that step to call you. Make it real, give them incentive, and go out to it. So takeaways are, you can and should do ads profitably. It should be 30% of your leads, and how you do it makes all the difference. And so I want you to consider, can you see the benefit of being able to scale leads up and down as needed, getting profitable business from them? I think you can. Okay. So now let's talk SEO. And this is a very broad category, and we're just going to go very high level here. I have other webinars that go into particulars of Google Maps or particulars of organic. So I'm not going to get into the weeds here, but I just want to cover it briefly. And this matters because when you look at maps and organic, the majority, over 50% of your leads, come from SEO. Okay. So it's a critical part of your portfolio, one that you have to address and do right. And it makes sense because the majority of the clicks do go to what we consider SEO, so maps and the organic listings. A majority of clicks don't go to ads. The ones that go to ads are higher converting on average, but a higher volume comes in through the SEO. So you've got to do well in these spaces. And so when you're doing organic SEO, which is basically having your web pages show up for keywords, the keywords matter. And so what you want to do, your overall strategy, is take your website and make sure you have pages for your services, and you want to distinguish, specific types of services like wiring or, in generator install or whatever different services you offer. It's different mixes, maybe do lighting. But you want to have a page for that service so you can match a keyword to it. You also want to match your main city to it. Okay, so that's basically the organic. And then for the on-page optimization, what you do, and I mean, you can find information about this all over the place. It's pretty straightforward, but you also need to have pages for the cities you serve. So you want to sketch out a service area and have local content. And then for optimization, when you've made a page for that service and that keyword, you want that keyword to be in the page title, in the what's called the H1 header, and if you can, in the URL. So those are kind of like the strongest on-page indicators. And so that's where you want to focus your efforts. And if you have a WordPress website, there are plugins that will help you. Yoast is one that's well known. It's generally more people in the industry favor something called rank math now. But needless to say, there are plugins in there that you can use to help you do this on-page optimization, and I'd recommend that you use them. Okay. Now, for off-page SEO, this is basically link building. And for this stage of the game, again, it's going to be more steered towards maps. And for maps, the types of links that you build are what are called citations. So things that have name, address, phone, directory listings, things like Yelp, things like city pages, like there's all kinds of ones. Angie's List, if it gives you a public facing one, any link that shows your company name, its address, and its phone number, that's important for your Google business profile. Okay. You want to get as many of those as you can within reason. For the other kind of link building, I would focus on local links, which would be things like your Chamber of Commerce, be things like sponsoring a local sports team, maybe a scholarship for a local university. I mean, wherever you can get a link back to your website on a page that's in your local area, that's going to help you the most. Okay. And then do things called strategic content syndication, which is basically press releases. That would be basically do some like how-to content or some authoritative type content. You put out a press release talking about, or even it's a press release about a milestone in your company, or you're launching a new area, you're launching a new service, or you're hired, like whatever reason there is to put news out there. You use the right platform to do it, where you can put links back to your website and other things. That's going to get broadcast out, and it'll get picked up by a bunch of local news sites all over the place. So those are great links to have back to your site. And so that's why you do press releases, is because it just builds your authority, both in people who actually consume the content, but also the links that you get back to your site. So it's a very powerful thing. How to rank in maps, just very briefly. Those name, address, phone citations are huge. Local content. So on your website, you also want to put things like about landmarks, touristy destinations, major venues. These are all things that will tell Google that your website is about that area. And when your website is about that area, you're more likely to show in that area for queries about your services. So that's why you do it. Okay. And then the best thing you can do once you have your Google profile up, Google Business Profile, is get reviews. As many reviews as you can. It's huge. Biggest ranking factor, more or less, that we can see. Okay, we'll talk more about that in a minute. So here's our takeaways. SEO is over 50% of your leads. It's a lot of work to do it right, but you can't skip it. And I think you can see how important this is, right? So dedicate the time and resources to cover this. So now let's talk about reputation management. And this matters, as we just said, because the reviews directly impact your maps results in a big way. And if you think about how you shop yourself, the most and best reviews get the clicks and calls, right? So it's one thing to show up in the maps. It's another thing for the person who sees you in the maps to choose you to call. And reviews are what do that for you. Okay. And also, when you have enough reviews, you don't have to be afraid of bad reviews anymore. Everybody gets them. Everybody gets crazy customers. But if you have enough reviews, it basically gets buried. People expect to see bad reviews. The profiles that are suspicious to people are the ones that have 300 reviews and they're all 5-star. People know that's gamed. And so it actually makes them trust you less. You want a natural distribution of reviews, and that includes some bad ones. People will read them and they'll realize they're dealing with a nutcase half the time. And if you respond to all your reviews and you respond in a professional manner, People hear what you say and they'll be like, yeah, I think that's probably just an unreasonable customer. I'm gonna discount that. So do online reviews matter? They sure do. And the vast majority of people trust an online review as much as they do a personal recommendation. And over 3/4 of consumers or customers think that reviews older than 3 months aren't relevant. So it's really important to have a process for doing this and to do it consistently and generate reviews from your customers. You really can't get to the next level if you don't do this. Okay. That's how you get the top spots. And how do you do it? So use tools. Use tools to automate it. Every customer that you work with, it sends them a request via email and phone. Leave a printed review card with a QR code or something. Have your text or you yourself, if you're there, leave something behind. Do a good job for your customers so they want to leave you reviews. And the biggest thing you can do, the most effective thing at this point, is actually pick up the phone and make a call. So call a customer, just, if it's just you, it's a little harder to do because you're busy, but if you have some office staff, just have them call and say, hey, just call and see how your service went. Oh, it went great, wonderful. Well, if you can take the time to leave us a review on Google, it would really help our business. Whatever, however you do it, but make the call and ask for it. Strongest thing you can do. Okay. So takeaways are having a solid and consistent review process will absolutely have a huge impact. Pick up the phone. It's the most effective thing you can do. And I hope you can see that this might be the most powerful thing you can do to grow. When you have a ton of reviews, it's like rocket fuel for you when coupled with successful maps presence. Okay, so let's review this summary. Google ads are very important for you. SEO is going to drive your growth, and reviews are huge, absolutely huge. All right, let's hit step 3, which is get bigger. And so remember, we've covered getting started, we've covered getting competitive, and now next we want to keep on going. Okay, and to do this, we're going to focus on marketing automation, social media, and new locations. Okay, and marketing automation is really just, automating some of the interactions you have with prospects. Okay, why does it matter? Your revenue will increase, your lead quality will improve, your business will grow faster. Okay, it's extremely important. Okay, so let's talk about 3 ways to increase conversions. First one is you have to engage your customers how they want to be engaged. The younger people, they're text messengers, WhatsAppers. That's not me, but it's clear as day to me that the younger generations are. And so you have to give them the opportunity to engage with you that way. And text messaging is an extremely effective platform for customer engagement. You have to follow up quickly. Okay, so when people are shopping, they're shopping. And if you don't follow up with the lead within 15 minutes, it's going to go cold on you. A follow-up within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. Okay, and after 5 minutes, the odds of qualifying a lead drop by 80%. It's huge. And half the leads go with the vendor who responds first. So you can see, and this, if you think about how you shop for things online for new vendors, I think this probably resonates with you. So to do this, you have to leverage automation. Okay, and the ideal outcome here is every lead gets an email and a text message within 30 seconds of submitting, and a call from someone at your company within 5 minutes. So few companies do this. It blows my mind. We moved a couple years ago to a new area, and so I had to get new vendors for everything, and it blew me away. And I'm generally a form filler. Like, I fill out a form, send me an email. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to text message you. So just answer my email. Let me talk to you that way, right? The majority of companies that I reached out to never answered their forms. It blew my mind. Could not believe it. And it still happens. This is something I test. And it's crazy to me. Really is. They don't know how much business they're leaving on the table. And it's not going to spam because I know how to check that stuff. So it's nuts. Okay, so that's pre-sales. Post-sales, when you have an estimate or a quote, every lead is followed up with at least 7 times via email, text, and phone until they book or they tell you they're not interested. Okay, they're going to be shopping you on price. Stay front of mind. Okay, you won't always lose on price, but you will lose if they forget about you. They got 4 quotes. Stay in the mix. Okay. And these things can get very complicated very fast. Okay. But if you followed up with all of your leads in this way, would you convert more of them? The answer is yes, of course you would. And just as an example, say you had a pretty decent cost per lead, and on $6,000 spend, you got 439 leads, which is fantastic. Okay, but say your conversion rate is 40%. That's going to give you 175 jobs. That's $166,000 in revenue, which is a projected return on investment of 27x, which is great. Fantastic. Good job. But say you increase your conversion rate by over 50% to 65%. That's going to give you 285 book jobs, which is going to increase your revenue by over $100,000 without spending any more on ads. Okay, that's way better, right? So how do you implement this in your business? And this is beyond the scope of the presentation today. I've got a whole nother webinar that I've gone into this. But basically you build automated, marketing automation sequences that if X happens, send Y. Okay, and you build up a layer of these both to the customer and in-house so that you're notified and your team is notified and the customer is notified, and that's how you do it. Okay, so consider that you might not have a lead problem, but you might have a conversion problem that's easily solved by marketing automation. Takeaways are marketing automation will let you out hustle most competitors. If your competitors aren't answering their forums and you are, guess who's getting that business? It's not them. You will be more profitable on the same spend. It's if you convert more, you're more profitable. So think about, would that be worth your time? I think the answer is of course, right? So let's talk a little bit about social media. Why does this matter? And people use social media platforms differently as social media has matured over the last couple decades. And you can position yourself as an expert in your field in various generations is really how this breaks down. And people enjoy being taken behind the scenes of your work. So they like to get to know who they're dealing with. It makes them trust you more, as it should, right? So what to do? You want to decide which platforms to expand into. You start with Facebook. That's where the money is. That's where the boomers and grandma is, right? So everybody starts on Facebook. But millennials are on Instagram, I'm told. I'm not a millennial. I'm not on Instagram. Zoomers, Gen Z, are on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I am not a Zoomer, but I'm told that that's where they are. YouTube is how-to videos. That one I know because anytime something breaks in my house, I head to YouTube. And if it looks like something I can fix in about under an hour at a reasonable cost, I'll just do it myself. But if it looks like something I don't want to tackle, I'm calling an electrician, for example, because I'm not messing with that. And so consider that, be the guy doing the how-to videos. And you use LinkedIn for B2B growth. That can be hit or miss. I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn, but it has value, especially if you're a sales recruiter. Bottom line is create business accounts for each platform you want to join and keep your branding consistent. So try to have the same handles everywhere, obviously the same company name, and create specific content for each platform. Okay. So what do? Just shoot photos and videos of every job you do and save them to Google Drive for future use. You never know, and it'll come in handy. Use a social media management tool to schedule things in advance. And if you need content ideas, search your niche, in this case, electricians, in Google and scroll down to where it says people also ask. Maybe, you want more generator installs. So Google, how to install a generator or something. Go down to the people also ask and you'll see a bunch of questions and just record a selfie video explaining, answering those questions. That's it. There's your content. You already know the answers because that's what you do, right? So it's pretty easy. So takeaways. Increase your consistency in posting to 3 times a week. So in step 1, we talked about doing 1 times a week. Let's up our game here to 3 times a week. Social media is always changing, so analyze and adjust your strategy as needed. As you get further along, you should have a company that does this for you or staff that does it. So it's not you doing this, but keep an eye on this stuff. And think about which platform is most closely aligned with your business goals and start there. All right, let's talk new locations. So why does this matter? A couple reasons. The main reason is it overcomes maps proximity limits. So if you recall, when you're talking about maps, you can only go so far before Google just won't show you anymore. And you just can't, there's very little you can do to overcome that. So you need a way to address that. New locations make you look like a bigger company. And just, if you look at a company and they have multiple locations, it looks like a bigger company to you. Just, you can't avoid it, right? It's logical. And a new location, when you consider digital marketing, has a very high long-term ROI because of how many leads come from SEO and maps. Okay. So what to do? Find an area you'd like to expand in at least 15 miles from your current office. And this is going to vary by industry and location. So what I would suggest you do is look at the geogrids for the top companies in your area and see how far they go before they're out of the map pack, right? So map pack is top 3. So like look at the big guys and see like what their like top 3, 4, 5 radius is. After that, they're in the page 2, and measure that radius. Okay, and so now when you're considering your next location, you have to be at least that far away. 15 miles is a pretty good rule of thumb. 20 miles is always good. But say you're in New York, nobody's getting 15 miles in New York. Okay, so you can be closer. So you have to actually look at the data. Okay, use LoopNet or your listings of choice to scout for suitable office space, and think about what is your objective of the space. If you're going to have crews there and park trucks, it's going to be a different type of location you're going to rent than a sales office, right? A sales office will be small, right? So you're going to pay for it, get some use out of it. And generally, you're going to have more sales office than potentially, but maybe you do want to run crews from that location. So just pay for the location and run crews from there. It depends on your size and your objectives. Okay. What do you not do? Do not use a Regis or a UPS store or anything like that. Google is wised up to that. They shut it down. It doesn't work. Don't do it. Make sure you have an actual address that can receive mail, and ensure that you can display signage, tools, trucks, and show physical control of the location. I moved my offices recently, and I had to record a video through Google Maps. So I had to be there on location, started in Google Maps and walk through a bit. Oh, look, I'm opening the door. Here's me. Here's my signs, right? So it's literally down to that right now to verify a new location. So keep that in mind as you do this. Okay. And just consider, how many big dogs have one location? None. Very few. None I can think of. So this is kind of a natural part of getting bigger, is having more locations, right? So opening new offices can be very profitable. Getting them positioned on maps is going to pay for its rent, for sure. Proceed with caution. Don't overlap too much. Make sure the area is worth targeting and is where you want to strategically expand your business. And just, don't do things like UPS stores and Regis. It doesn't work. Okay, so can you see what a multi-location business might do for your bottom line? It's definitely something to consider and something to do in this step. All right, step 4, get everywhere. Okay, so we've covered get started, we've covered get competitive, we've covered get bigger. Now let's talk about getting everywhere. So here's your step 4 focus: cold email, Facebook ads, omnipresence. Okay, this one's gonna go a little faster because we're just gonna hit this at a high level, but I want to give you an understanding of what the strategy is here. So with cold email, what you're really doing is high volume targeting of commercial prospects. And there's tens of thousands available, depending on how you get your list and which industries you want to cover. But done correctly, this can produce a very high ROI. Okay, it's how I've started most of my niche industries, or my niche agencies that I do. And so what do? So you get similar domains. So if you're bobtheelectrician.com, you want to get bobtheelectrician.co and bobtheelectrician.net. Those two are your emailing domains. You'll start with .co. And if you burn that one out with spam, go .net. Okay. But do it carefully so you don't burn it out. But you want to have that insurance policy. Never use your main domain. Okay. So, and you got to warm it up. There's tools that do this, like LemWarm. There's others instantly. But you want to warm the email domain up so that it's ready to send email, because of spam, the email providers are kind of watching for brand new email accounts to start sending messages, and they get flagged and they get spam. Okay, so you got to warm it up. Prepare a simple, short, and direct messaging sequence. Nobody's going to read your 10 paragraphs. A couple sentences, bam, 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 in and out. Busy business owner can see it. Is it relevant? No, I'm out of here. Or yeah, I'll talk, right? That's all you need. Get a list of commercial prospects with emails. We scrape them and we clean up the email list. That's how we do it. You can buy lists if you want, but it's cheaper to do it that way. And then get software that will manage a drip sequence for you. A drip sequence is you're not going to send these all at once. Bad idea. You will get flagged. You will get blocked. You want to send it one at a time, an email every couple minutes. Ping, 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 all day long. That's what you do. Okay. And there's software that will do it for you. Okay. And so when you're ready to launch a campaign, start about 30-ish a day after you've warmed up and ramp up to about 200 a day. Okay. So now you're hitting 200 new business owners per day with email and have a process for handling responses. Hint, hint, marketing automation, right? But it'll make your phone ring. It'll get you some business. Once you get this up and running, it's pretty much set it and forget it. Okay, so it's one of those things you're just constantly reaching out to your targeted industries. And if they're in the market, they'll get back to you. And if they're not, they'll ignore you. You know, as long as you're not over emailing and being obnoxious. If you'll happen to hit somebody statistically who has a project or has a need, and they might give you a call. It's the whole point of this. Okay. Takeaways are: don't spam, do careful, respectful outreach. And this is mostly set and forget it. But once it can be done, it can be very high ROI because it's very low cost to run these things. And, you know, one job pays for it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. So I hope you can see the value of industry targeting here and what it might be able to do for you. And now, Facebook ads. Okay. And so why do Facebook ads matter? There's a couple of reasons. Similarly to Google ads, you can cover your entire service area with a relatively cheap cost per 1,000 impressions. Okay. Versus like TV or radio, for example. These ads are targeting higher up the funnel, right? So Google ads, somebody's got a project or a specific need that they're ready to go, typically, or at least they're thinking about it, right? Facebook ads are like TV ads, like they're higher funnel. They might be thinking about it. They might have never thought about it before. And so you want to get the idea in their minds and give them a way to take action, right? Think of like a whole home generator if you install those, right? The leads for that will come in from Google ads, but there might be people who just had an outage who never thought about it before who are like, man, it would be great to have one of those. And here's your Facebook ad, right? That's what this does. And the other thing is you can also specifically target commercial here in a very clever way. Okay. And so how you do this is you take that commercial email list broken down by industry that you just were using to cold email, and you can make custom audiences and lookalike audiences of those industries. So what you have here is a bunch of profiles of business owners in the industries you want to target. And so by uploading those to Facebook, Facebook will find statistically similar profiles to that and will, you know, they'll make that audience for you. And so you can run ads to those business owners of that industry in your area. And so you've got your audience lined up that you can send your message to. And so that is perfect. And so what you want to do then is write ad copy that is simple, clear, and direct. Okay. Just they don't want to read through 55 paragraphs. You just want your value proposition to be clear, and you want them to either take action and know what action they are supposed to take. Okay. And use images that capture attention and are relevant. So if you are, you know, advertising whole home generator or something, then go in your Google Drive and find a picture of your or video of you installing a whole home generator, right? That's your it's your media for your ad. Okay, you already got it. Okay, now you can also target higher end residential depending on your goals and service offerings, but you're not going to have an email list to make a custom audience for those. So there's a little bit of a different strategy, but if there are, you know, say you do like high-end lighting, for example, for residential, there's a different strategy, a different targeting here, but it's something that you would do and can do with Facebook ads. Okay, and again, these are higher funnel leads. You're generating demand higher in the funnel, but it's something you want to do as you're growing and getting everywhere, right? So takeaways are you can target specific industries and customer types with Facebook ads. It's a different lead pool than Google ads because Google ads is at the bottom of the funnel. Facebook ads is middle and top of funnel, typically. Okay. So do you see the importance of visibility over your entire service area higher in the funnel? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now let's talk about Omnipresence. Now let's tie it all together into a sort of campaign. So Why does this matter? You'll hear things like, I see you guys everywhere. You'll reach every prospect on your target multiple times in a short time frame, and that gives you a higher conversion rate. Okay. More swings of the bat. And you'll seem 10 times bigger than you are. I mean, this is something that big companies do. So when you pull this off, you just look bigger. Okay, which is comforting to some people. Okay, so what do? So choose who you want to target, commercial, residential. This is easier to do commercially because you have all the pieces, right? It can be done residentially. It's a slightly different approach. So I'm kind of more focused on commercial here for this kind of sequence I'm going to talk about. You want to plan your messaging. What's your offer? Why does it matter to them? What do they do? Okay, spell it out, make it clear. And then plan your timing based on sales timeline. So if your, sales process for the service you're targeting is 6 weeks, and you have a bunch of jobs you want to fulfill in, say, August or September, then walk back 6 weeks from when you want that business and make sure your campaign's landing at that time where you're initiating the sales process for the business to close 6 weeks down the line. Does that make sense? Okay. So Omnipresence is going to be a total campaign. So what we're introducing here is postcards. Postcards and direct mail is fantastic in conjunction with this broader approach. Okay. And you want to sequence things to maximize touches. And if you want to get really aggressive and you have the budget to do so, consider adding in radio and or TV. I mean, that really just takes it to a whole nother level. Not everybody has the budget for it who's in this place. So I'm leaving it out, and I don't have a good way to systematize it. But just in the back of your mind, think, hey, if I can do this, and you do fiddle around with radio and TV, just layer that into what I'm talking about. Okay. So here's an example sequence. So again, for the period you want this to land, Facebook ads start at the beginning of it and run the whole time. Okay. Whole time. Say it's a week, 2 weeks, whatever that time frame is, you're going to do this. Your Facebook ads campaign is running to your target audience this whole time via your custom and lookalike audience in the area you've selected. Okay. Then you have a targeted date for your postcards to drop. And before that date, you want 2 or 3 emails. After that date, you want 2 or 3 emails. Okay. So here's how it's going to look at from your customer, right? You're doing a combined arms campaign to draw lots of business. Your customer is going to get 4 to 6 emails from you and a postcard, and probably see your Facebook ads 4 or 5 times over this time. And if you have radio and TV going on, you're just everywhere. You're just swamping them, right? And so can you see how this looks to the customer? You look like the big dog they can trust. And if they're in the market, because you generally, you're not going to make them in the market if they're not. But if they're in the market, if they're thinking about it, you're going to squeeze every last lead you can from your available market from a process like this. Okay. So this is when you've done everything else here and you've got everything else in place, and now you can really get after it. This is putting everything together and really marketing effectively to your market. Okay. So just a brief summary: cold email lets you target commercial at scale and with precision. Facebook ads let you access a whole different lead pool across the whole area and put postcards into that mix and radio and TV, and you are omnipresent. And that's how you do it. All right. So far, we've gone through the process. We've covered how to get started with your Google business profile, a Facebook page, and your website. Okay. How to get competitive with Google Ads, SEO, and reputation management. How to get bigger with marketing automation, social media, and new locations. And then how to get everywhere with cold email, Facebook ads, and omnipresence. Okay, so knowing what you now know, do you feel more comfortable using the power of digital marketing in your business? I hope so. And are you happy that you watched this presentation today? Again, I hope so. And if not, please reply to the email that goes out, or whoever sent this to you, if it was someone on my team, and let us know, hey, this was great, but I'd really love to know more about X, Y, or Z. I love that feedback. It's helpful to me. I'll make that content for you and put it out there. I'm happy to answer those questions. Okay, so knowing what you now know, do you realize the advantage that you can have in the market by using these cutting edge techniques? It doesn't have to just be the big boys with unlimited budgets. You can get there. Follow the step-by-step process, ramp things up over time, and do things smart and efficiently, maximize what you have, and there's no reason you can't do what they're doing. So can you see yourself using what I showed you today to help you grow your business? I hope so. This is the roadmap. Everybody can do it. And so even if you use a tiny fraction of what I showed you today, and I hope you do, told me you would at the beginning when I said you got to do something for me, then would you say our time was well spent? And I hope you'd say yes. And if you would like to spend even more time together, going even deeper and further on how you can make digital marketing impact your business, we'd love to do that with you. So there's two choices you have. The first is you can take this incredibly valuable roadmap and get to work implementing it piece by piece, step by step yourself. And my objective here is to give you enough to do that. And I have other webinars and other content which you can go watch and do the stuff yourself. There's no secrets here. I'm telling you how to do it. Or you can take the step our customers have done and work with us to take things to the next level. And if that's interesting to you, I want to show you our service plans. Okay, so you know what you're dealing with. And we have a plan just for you. So we offer done-for-you services that build assets that you own forever and help you dominate your market and grow your electrical contracting business. So you don't have to count on repeat business and referrals or bad lead services, but you can get better jobs and better margins and more profit by doing it yourself. Okay? And what is it worth to keep you busy? You know how expensive it is to have your equipment and your crews, especially having them idle. And it's expensive. It's nerve-wracking as a business owner. And we could charge $5,000 per month for what we do, and it would be a heck of a deal. But we don't. We don't do that. These are our plan. We basically have 3 plans, and they're designed to complement the steps that I laid out here. So if step 1, getting started, that's our starter package. We're going to help you do most of those things that you need to do to get that stuff going. And then when you're ready, we have growth. And growth helps you get through step 2, getting competitive, step 3, getting bigger. Okay? All through that process, we're there to help you. And our elite plan is for getting everywhere. So when you're really ready to tackle the more sophisticated techniques and the higher budgets that you need to do that, that's what our elite plan is for. And so through this entire journey, we have a process mapped out to help you. Okay? So there's a plan for your needs. We don't do contracts. Our contracts are 30-day notice. So I don't want to keep you as a customer because I made you sign a paper that said you'd pay me for 12 months. I want to keep you as a customer because we're doing a great job for you and you can see the value. And the way that we do our projects is we start with a sprint, which is a lot of setup, building, all the things we need to get you ready. And then our monthly recurring, just the stuff we do month over month over month to help you get these results. And these services are built and honed by working with home services and contractors over multiple industries. We see what works, we have the experience, and we put that directly into our services. And we're testing them all the time. And we have bonuses. So the bonus one's premium electricians list. So we have a directory of electrician companies in the United States. And we're building this up and we're strengthening it and we're targeting electricians near me, right? So over time, we will be very visible with this site for those searches, and our customers will get a free premium listing on that site, which is more visible. It's at the top. Okay. Now you can pay for it. It's not super expensive. But for our customers, we're going to put them premium for free. Why wouldn't we? We have a free daily industry PPC report as bonus 2, which is we run surveillance on the top 25 industries. And we collect that data and we show what's going on in the big markets with the big dogs. What's happening in their ads? What keywords are they searching on? What ad copy are they running? It's all there. It's updated 4 times a day. So you can see what's going on, and we look at it too. It's very helpful intelligence for us. And then bonus 3 is Revenue Commander. This is our automation platform. So where we run like our email sequences, our call tracking, our marketing automations, all those things we do, we put them in here. And you get that Revenue Commander is included in our plans for our customers. I want to give you our guarantee. So we get asked all the time, can you guarantee results? And it's there's a very simple, direct, and honest answer to this question. which I will give you on the next slide. And anybody who answers this differently than this is not being straight with you. And consider everything else they tell you accordingly. So, ready for the answer? Can you guarantee results? No. No, you cannot. No one can. And anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. I don't control what Google does. I can't control who they show or where, and even with ads. They could change their algorithm tomorrow. They could change who they show and why. We don't own the platform. We can't control it. I can't tell Facebook what to do or who to show ads to. So much of these things now are I mean, they're all algorithms. They're all tuned with machine learning. They're messing with stuff all the time. Things that work yesterday don't work today. This is just the nature of the beast. And so if someone guarantees you page one, spot one, take it with a grain of salt, because you just can't guarantee it. And they shouldn't give you a guarantee like that, because they can't deliver it. But there are things you can guarantee. And so what I can guarantee is that my team executes the best possible approach based on our experience doing this for dozens and dozens of contractors. I guarantee full transparency in the process, the results that you're getting, the challenges that we're having, the plan that we have, the strategies that we execute. I just walked through them for you here. But we'll tell you in even more detail as a customer, right? And I can guarantee that we have to earn your business every month by not making you do a contract. So these are the sorts of guarantees we can give you. And therefore, we guarantee your satisfaction. We guarantee professional workmanship, and we guarantee you're going to get our best, so we can keep you on our team as you grow. That's what we want, and we want you to want that too. Okay, so we hear this all the time, but Chris, I've been burned. We do hear this all the time, and we get that. But to be honest, sometimes it's not the other agency, and so I throw this caution out here when someone tells me this. I ask them, were you, or my sales team, I don't always talk to them, but were you responsive to them? Were you, them being the agency, were you patient with them? Did you give them what they needed to help you? Did you give them time to execute their plan? Did you let them do things their way? If so, yes, you may have been burned, and we won't do that to you. But if no, you burned yourself. And that's the cold, hard truth. If you are a difficult customer, if you are a demanding customer, if you are an unreasonable customer, if you are an impatient customer, you are the problem, not your agency. And we're not going to sugarcoat that for you. We're going to tell you, sorry, you're wrong. So if you feel like you've been burned by multiple marketing agencies, this would be a good time for some self-reflection and consider if it was the agency or if it was what kind of customer you were being for them. And maybe you did have a bunch of bad agencies. But in my experience, there aren't that many bad agencies, especially if they're of any size. They might have struggled in your case. They may have new teams. I mean, there's many reasons that things can go sideways. But broadly speaking, people in this industry are professionals, unless you're dealing with, bad apples happen, unskilled people happen. But by and large, if you're repeatedly burned, consider how you might be contributing to that problem. But Chris, I can't afford this. And I totally understand that. And so that's why I'm giving this roadmap for free. And I put content out there, is because if you can't afford to pay someone to help you, I want you to be able to do it yourself. And I hope that when you get to a position where you can hire someone, you'll consider hiring us. And so I'll keep putting that content out there. And if there's something I haven't put out there that you would find useful, let me know. And I'll put it on the roadmap. We'll get it out there. But Chris, business is down. We hear this too. And I get it, but that's why you need to do this. Reality is, at the time I record this, we've probably been in a recession for a while. You know how they fake the numbers and they do all this nonsense. As a business owner, if you're up or down, if your leads are down, if people are canceling jobs, we hear a lot of that kind of stuff. And the reality is that when business is down, you have to be more aggressive, because if business is down for you, chances are it's down for your competitors, and you got to hustle more. You got to, maybe break even instead of being quite so profitable, but you've got to get after it. You got to compete more effectively. You've got to get a bigger slice of a smaller pie. And so if there's any time not to advertise less, it's when the market is challenging. Okay. And so whether you hire us or not, get this stuff done. Others will say, I already have a vendor. That's great. Everybody does. Just about every customer we have already had a vendor. And if they are great, we won't tell you to leave them. That's not the right thing to do. People do it to us, they do it, and they mislead our customers and steal them, and they're never happy they left. They're just getting bad service somewhere else. So the way that we do this is we have a sales process, and our sales process is an audit of how you're doing. And if you're doing great, it will show us that, and we will tell you you're doing great. And if you're not, then you should probably make a change because you're not being served well for whatever reason. And then we're happy to help you. So speaking of that, to get your free marketing audit, go to electricianmarketingagency.com/apply now. You fill out a form, give us some information, and we will set up a call with you. You can schedule a call, we'll get on there and we'll talk through it with you. Or you can call us at the number here and schedule that call with us. And again, give us the information and we'll put the presentation together for you. And we'll just have a frank and honest conversation about how you're doing and what needs to happen next. So I hope this was a valuable presentation today. I hope you got a ton of value out of it. The next steps are here for you. And I hope to see you on the next webinar. Thanks for joining.